Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Jason. I'm a Course in Miracles student and a channeler. And today, what I'd like to do is first make this screen a bit smaller. First, what I want to do today is just say hello and uh, and welcome back, and nice to see you again. This daily dose of hope. We're on daily dose of hope day 49. I was called by my guides. I was asked if I so wished to, I could come on and give a daily dose of hope because the energies on our planet are starting to pick up and things are getting wackier and wackier. And yeah, so the wacky stuff always reminds me of a book. I think it's a Dr. Seuss book. I'm not sure. It's a kid's book, and it's called Wacky Wednesday. And in the book, things just the whole day just is wacky. Everything's upside down. The bed is on the ceiling, and the chairs are upside down, and it just feels like that's the kind of era that we're in. It's a wacky time. Um, so today, what I'd like to do first is I'm going to talk a little bit about Jimi Hendrix, or as they call him in Japan, Jimmy Hen, and um, and then I just want to talk a little bit about the neutralizer, which is this invention that my guides have taught me about, and about perception, and then I'm going to go into a channeling. Okay, so thank you all for your concern about yeah, a little bit of the dark afternoon of the soul. Thank you so much. I'm much better. It's just it's a roller coaster, and sometimes when you face everything that that you're going through, face it head on. It can be a bit overwhelming, but yeah, but I'm fine. Don't worry about me. But I'm just, yeah, just kind of fielding all of these emotions and energies and shiftings and changings, and it is, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But thank you, though. I really appreciate your concern. That was very nice of you. Um, so, first I wanted to talk about is Jimi Hendrix. So I think it was yesterday, not yesterday, but the last Daily Dose of Hope. I was talking about that the only way out of here is love. And the only way out of here is through your brothers and sisters, through the people that you see around you. You can't escape that. And so that Jimi Hendrix song, it's not a Jimi Hendrix song, but the Bob Dylan song, All Along the Watchtower. But Jimi Hendrix version was the one that was going around in my head, and so there must be some kind of way out. Well, here it is. If I'm sure you might be familiar with it, but there must be some way out of here, said the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion, I can't get no relief. Businessmen, they drink my wine. Plowmen dig my earth. None of them along the line know what any of it's worth. No reason to get excited, the thief, he kindly spoke. There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that, and this is not our fate. So let us not talk falsely now. The hour is getting late. All along the watchtower, princes kept the view, while all the women came and went, barefoot servants too. Outside in the distance, a wildcat did growl. Two riders were approaching. The wind began to howl. So that's the full lyrics. But that song is just going through my head, a lot. And so the idea of, well, not necessarily of the song, but the idea of there's the only way out of here is God's plan. Because we are God, we're part of God, and God's plan is that we forgive and we shine the light for everyone around us. That's the only way out of this third dimension craziness. um, and there are all these other possibilities. There are all these things that we see. Oh, you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this, but none of it's going to work because the only way out is love. I mean, if you want to stay stuck in it, then go right ahead and do all the other stuff. But if you want to find a way out of this crazy polarity, the only way is just to let go and let love in. And oh, there you go. There's another song that popped in. What that was it? A Lenny Kravitz song from the '80s, "Let Love In," or '90s, I guess it was. Anyway, that's a good song. Um, and yeah, so but that song "All Along the Watchtower" is really very interesting. I'm not going to go too in depth into the lyrics, but the thief and the Joker, they're both on the edges of society, and they're talking about there must be some sort of way out of here. There's many ways of looking at that, and there's many ways of looking at Bob Dylan himself and his whole uh, thing. I think I personally think he's a very talented songwriter and an amazing poet. And whether or not there are other things involved, there are other things involved. I, I had a bit of a realization about, for example, Jimi Hendrix and the whole kind of '60s music movement. Um, and but I guess I probably shouldn't go into it here, so I won't. But anyway, so that's a great song, and it is, there's got to be a way out of here. And what is it? And it looks like we're just surrounded on all sides, and everything's going crazy, and it's just like, just love. Everything is perfect. Everything is going to plan, and let it be what it is. I had that in my morning meditation today. I'm doing a Course in Miracles lesson 74, I think I'm at. Um, and I have it in my pocket here. Hold on. And it says, there is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. And this is a wonderful lesson that I didn't really think much about this one before until now. I realized, like, now, right, there's so many things going on in the world. And I think in the previous channel, I'm pretty sure we were talking about narratives and storylines that we're all creating, and that we're all in these weaving these different stories together. And so if you read the news, and then if you read the was a mainstream news, and then you read the alternative news, and then the alternative news, and all of these different news, there's many different stories going on, and they are all wonderful stories weaving together, and it is all perfect. I think that is the way to look at it. There's no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. And so just understanding that all of these stories are playing out the way that they need to be played out, and there's nothing for you to do about these stories. Like, I need to stop that story. That's the wrong story. That's the right story. We don't know what the right story is. We have no idea. And but when we go into this judgment of certain stories, then we fall into that sadness and anger, and we lose our way. So rather than that, just understand that there are all these different narratives going on, and how wonderful. Which one is real? Who knows, right? But the only true story, the only real story behind everything is love. And I think that was the message from yesterday. I think can't tell if I'm confusing this message. Last night we had our live membership channeling, and I'm not sure if it was from that one or from yesterday's Daily Dose of Hope. But either way, we are storytellers, and we are story livers. We're living through our stories, and we're creating our stories. And as such, we have to think multidimensionally. That was another thing that came out last night, is thinking multidimensionally, having the ability to see there are two different stories going on at the same time, and they're both true and they're both not true. Because the only true story, of course, is when you close your eyes and you go inside and you feel that peace and that oneness with God. That's the only story, really. Everything else is just kind of, frills and stuff like that. And so that was what um, came through yesterday, about understanding. It's like about quantum thinking. Quantum thinking. So the light is off and on at the same time, and it's possible for it to be in both places at the same time. And that is kind of like what quantum physics is based on. Or quantum computing and all of that stuff is based on that idea. It's not just on off, it's on and off both at the same time. And so, in a sense, like, quantum physics is approaching this spiritual kind of multidimensional thinking. And one thing, for example, I do a water meditation every morning. And when I do my water meditation, I imagine that I am the river, for example. I imagine I'm a river, and I imagine I'm a river that is flowing. But I also imagine at the same time I am all of the rivers all over the world. So I am both flowing and also the river itself. And so there's like two different things going on at the same time. And last night, uh, the um, example that was given was really funny. It's like, so about the Earth. Okay, so some people believe that the Earth is round. Some people believe that the Earth is flat. Some people believe that the Earth is a tree, and some people believe that the Earth is just an illusion. And they're all right. And it's possible that if you are if you're able to have all four of those different things in your brain at the same time and accept them as real, that you can expand your brain. It's a mind expansion process of accepting that things can be many things at the same time. And this is what I was thinking this morning as I was going through this lesson. There is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. I am at peace. Nothing can disturb me, right? So all of these conflict thoughts. So reading the news, right? You read the news. I I'm interested and I want to find out, what the news is saying. I'm not saying that the news is true or not true, but just it is a story. It is a storyline that is behind around us. Ah, hey Maria. Good morning. It's 3:26 here on a Sunday afternoon. Nice and sunny Sunday afternoon. April, where are we at? 14th? Yeah. But yeah, I just got that idea that, all of these things, I was worried about many different things, like what's going to happen with this or with this or with this, and how are we going to survive and what are we going to do? And I thought, it's cool, it's fine, it's all perfect, it's all going the way it needs to go. All of these stories are those stories, and people need their story. And but if you are able to take a step back and see that they are all necessary, and but that the only true story is that you are loved and everyone's just experiencing having different experiences with you. You're just sharing this kind of space and having these experiences, and it just is a great weight off of your shoulders. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. But I'm curious, so I will research it. But it's okay, it's okay, it's all love, it's all going to plan. And Maria, okay. It's 8:26 in the morning. Ooh, it's early, early. Also sunny, nice. All right. So I wanted to talk about that. Jimi Hendrix, the only way out of here, there's got to be some way out of here, and the only way out of here is love. And you got to take everyone with you. Take everyone you see with you. Bring them all home with you. And so that I wanted to talk about. And next, also about this, I'm going to include this in my channeling course as well. I found this works really well recently. It's called a neutralizer. And I've talked about it before, but I used it this morning in my meditation. I had a bit of a, um, I don't know if I should go into it. I had an attachment. How we'll say it that way. I had an attachment. And I'm very curious with these attachments. I'm a curious guy. And so I want to talk to them and figure out like where they come from and what they're made of and how this happens. And so, but with the attachment, sometimes they may not have like goodwill towards you. And so usually people say you just kind of get rid of it as soon as possible. But my guides showed me this interesting technique of a neutralizer. So it looks like a blender, but it's not a blender. You're not blending anything. It's a neutralizer. It's shaped like this, like a triangle, like a blender. And then there's a bottom part, and then there's a glass part up here. And then you put the being, that whatever the being is, like that you don't want to be affected by. So you put the being into the glass thing, and then you turn on the neutralizer. In the neutralizer, they become neutral. So when they might have been there to attack you, they're just neutral. So they're just there. And they're also surprised by it. They're like, why am I neutral? I'm not supposed to be this way. I'm supposed to be angry. I'm supposed to be fighting, but they're a bit confused. And then there's another dial that you can dial up too, because at times some of these beings are trickster beings. They won't tell you the truth. They might. So you turn up the truth meter in the neutralizer. There's a little truth knob. So you turn that up, and then they have to tell you the truth. And so it's a very interesting thing, the neutralizer. And I used it again today, and it was very interesting. And the being in there too was surprised. He was like, "Why am I telling you this? I'm not supposed to be telling you this. This is not this." And I was like, "Oh, it's just the truth knob." And but anyway, so it's very interesting to learn about all of these different beings and what's important. I think really important in this world, especially this spiritual world, we say, but we're all spiritual. We are spirit. So um, the more you become aware of, it might be surprising what's actually going on in the world sometimes, and the things that you can see. But the most important thing is to understand that we're made of love. Love is the most powerful thing, and that there's no reason to fear. You are God, live like at a source energy here on this planet, and there's nothing to fear. The light is so much more powerful than the dark. Um, so for me, it's very, very interesting just to understand all of these different things. Um, Maria say, cool, a neutralizer. Yeah, it really works well. It's a wonderful idea, and then you can get the information you need, and you don't have to feel like you're being attacked, because you cannot be attacked because they're in the neutral. They're neutral, and then you can just send it back to source. Using many different methods. Hey, Laura. Yeah, nice to see you. Caught me live. Yay. So, okay, so the neutralizer, Jimi Hendrix. Wanted to talk a little bit about emotions and health, perceptions and emotions and health. And I'm not sure if I'm going to read from the Course in Miracles or not. Um, I, um, but what I wanted to talk about was, so health, right? When you're sick, it's usually a trapped emotion. Our emotions are meant to flow through. We are like great radio. We're like radios, and we're picking up all these energies and all these emotions, and everything's kind of flowing through. But if we kind of catch one of these emotions, like, oh, I'm feeling this sadness emotion, and then we just put it here, and we just hold it. We believe that it's us. Oh, this sadness is me. This defines me. And so then this sadness will come out as a symptom, as a sickness, as a disease. And so you can try all kinds of medicine, you can try all kinds of different things to fix it, but nothing will fix the root cause of the disease, because the root cause is you uh, forgetting who you truly are. You holding on to an emotion as you believing that you are a body, that you can ever be sick. And so I think I'm coming to a realization and understanding of what this idea of healing means. And this is from the Course in Miracles, this idea that the only way to heal, because the only problem we could ever have is the problem of separation. We came here believing that we're separate, that we're not connected to God, that we're all separate. And that is the source of all of our pain and all of our suffering. And the more we realize that we're all one, the more we can become more uh, peaceful, and also that we can become more healthy. It is the most healthy thing you can do. It's the best supplement ever, is becoming one, understanding that you're one. And so that's what I wanted to say about that. I think, yes, I'm a bit all over the place today. But so let's see if I Okay, so I just want to read a small passage from the Course in Miracles, just a small one, just talking about perception and about the body. Okay, so this is chapter 3, the innocent perception, 4, error and ego, and 6. Here we go. The ability to perceive made the body possible because you must perceive something and with something. That is why perception involves an exchange or translation, which knowledge does not need. The interpretive function of perception, a distorted form of creation, then permits you to interpret the body as yourself in an attempt to escape from the conflict you have induced. Spirit, which knows, could not be reconciled with this loss of power because it is incapable of darkness. This makes spirit almost inaccessible to the mind and entirely inaccessible to the body. Thereafter, spirit is perceived as a threat because light abolishes darkness merely by showing you it is not there. Truth will always overcome error in this way. This cannot be an active process of correction because, as I already emphasized, knowledge does not do anything. It can be perceived as an attacker, but it cannot attack. What you perceive of its attack is your own vague recognition that knowledge can always be remembered, never having been destroyed. So yeah, they're talking about knowledge. Knowledge is the direct knowing, the direct connection with God, and it's not something that you question. It's not something that you kind of use your perception to try to understand. It's not about thinking. It's just a knowing, and it's just a remembering. Oh, right, I'm one. But perception keeps changing, and everything's changing, and this is this, and this is that, and this is that, and it's very confusing. And perception creates the body is part of perception. We see all these things and we judge them, and we take this and and but it's knowledge is the only real thing, and that is the only thing that is there. But we're using our bodies, right, to have these wonderful experiences. So that's what I wanted to say about that, I guess. Yeah. I'll just go into a channeling. Okay, and so with the channeling, I'm just going to ask, can they give us any information more about what is going on our planet at this moment? And yeah, I guess about that. Well, before I go in, wow, Laura, that's very interesting. Your podcast voice has a frequency that my soul sees or hears as light language. Wow. Wow, thank you. That's very interesting. I'd love to be able to see that. Wow. All right. So I'm going to go into channeling and see what happens. Okay, here we go. All right. Hmm. Greetings. We are that one that you know of, Jesus, but we are also connection with the everything and the everywhere. And so we will begin to come in this way, as a bit of a transition of sorts, you might say. We are starting to come in this way because all of you, your frequencies are rising more and more and more. And you might say that my job is becoming easier and easier and easier, and that you are becoming more and closer to where I am. And so that your direct connection, you would not need an intermediary to help you with a direct connection, because many of you are starting to connect directly with the everything and the everywhere, with the source of all that there is, with the source of love, with love. You are beginning to connect directly with love. And this is a beautiful time for your planet, a beautiful time for all of you. We would say that all times on your planet are very, very beautiful. Although on the surface, at times it might not seem that way. It is always quite, quite beautiful. The way that things are progressing, the way that these stories are intertwining for all of you, the way that you are starting finally to start to see that there are many different stories and that they can all be true and false at the same time. This idea is helping you to understand the nature of this reality that you live in at this moment. The more you understand how things can be two things at the same time, will open you up to the more of the perception that they can be even many, many more things at the same time. Just for example, that you, as a body, as a person at this moment, are having many, many different experiences at the same time on parallel dimensions. And so this is a part of that idea. And so in those dimensions, what might not be true for you here will be true in one of those dimensions. And what might not be false for here might be true in another dimension. And so, and all of them are true in the sense that everything is true and everything is false in this third dimension. This third dimension is a dimension of your creation, of all of your joint creations. You are creating all of these stories that are able to intertwine with all of you, and that you are able to experience have so many different experiences with all of these stories playing out at the same time. And at times you might find it overwhelming to have so many different stories, but your overwhelming feeling is coming from the fact that you are judging these stories, that you are putting your judgment on these stories. You are saying that the story is not right or wrong or should be different. But if you are open, more and more open to these stories being as they are, being what they are, and that they are all for you, they're there for you. And that if you understand this more and more, this sense of overwhelm will be gone, because you will understand that they are all beautiful, and that you can see it as a great symphony of interleaving waves of energy and frequency, a great symphony that was playing out before your eyes. If you could see all of these things that way, you could see how beautifully the trumpet is playing and how wonderfully the flute is harmonizing with the trumpet, and you can hear the drums in the background, and they're playing a completely different rhythm that is you might think of as in conflict with the flute and the trumpet, but they are actually all in the same symphony. If you can hear them as the symphony that they are, then you can start to expand your brain and expand your mind into this multidimensional area, which is where your world is moving at this moment. You are moving into a sense of multidimensionality, into a sense of storytelling, into a sense of your own true creativity, your creativity that comes to you from source energy, the creation of love, the creation with love, and the creation of what another being that this being often channels, what Sanat Kamara's job is, what he does for all of you. He is a facilitator. So he facilitates all of the experiences that you have. He opens up his heart and his soul to all of you, and so that you can have these experiences in this third dimension. And by doing that, he is not jumping into any of the situations that are happening. He is seeing all of you. He is witnessing you as the symphony that you are every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and even in the in between times, because your time has a lot of in between time that you might not notice. In between the seconds, there is a lot of time, and there is a lot of no time. And so that is what we would say is happening, is that you are also approaching this ability. This, you are all in training to understand the multidimensionality of your world, and to be able to accept that there are many stories happening at the same time, and that there's no need to judge. There's only the need to observe and to listen and to see how beautiful it all is, and how wonderfully it's all working together for you, for you and 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 for all of you, because you are all you. You are all the collective you. You are all one. So it is all working for you. You are all trying to wake up to this idea that you are not just a body. You came down here with the pill of forgetfulness to learn how to remember. And that is what is happening. And you are slowly starting to remember, and the stories that are playing out on your world at this moment are there to help you to understand that there are many different stories, and they're not there to scare you. No, 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 no. They are not there to scare you. While what we would say is that some of the storytellers think that they are creating these stories in order to scare you. But no, 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 no. These stories are there to help you to understand that there are many different stories, and that there are many different places to be. There isn't, as this being said, just an on or an off, or black or white. There are many, many, many different shades of color, and there is the possibility of both. One thing can be on and off and non existent at the same time. And that is what you are all approaching. And understand that overwhelming feeling that you might feel, that feeling of floating when you hear something like that. Understand that that is just the first steps, because you are stepping into a new territory, into a new world of thought. And at first it can be seen as so large and so unimaginable that you go into a state of you might say trance state. But no, understand that that trance state doesn't last forever. It is just the first step, because you are not aware of this feeling. So you go into that a bit of a trance state, because everything is so much, and it's so much more than you've ever experienced. But the more you experience it, the more you will understand that, and that will become your normal state. The acceptance of all of these things as happening, of all of these stories interweaving, intertwining for you, and for you. And that is what we would like to say today to all of you. We are that one that you know of as Jesus, and we are also that one that you know of as everything and everywhere, or love and source, and whatever word you would like to use. Many of your words, we would say, are in dire need of redefinition at this moment, as things on your planet are not the way they used to be, and your words don't mean the things that they mean, or that they should mean at this moment. Things are shifting and changing. But we are here, and we are here, and we are here for all of you. Hmm. Okay. So, wow. Oh, 7 people here. Look at that. Woo-hoo. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. Yeah, Laura, that's cool. I'd love to hear more about that. That's really interesting. Light language. Really interesting. I'm very interested in light language. I haven't done a lot of haven't had a lot of experience with light language. Um, hey, Karine. Yeah, I do. I have practiced a little bit with it, but not a lot. I'd be very interested in hearing more about that. So, thanks, Maria. Yep, thanks for joining in. Sorry it was so early for you. But everyone, yeah, thank you so much for joining in. Wow, 30 minutes. Whew. I can ramble on, can I? So yeah. So guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all of your well wishing. That was I really appreciate it. That's really nice of you. And yeah, hopefully I can see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully if all goes well. And I really appreciate it. So ciao. Ciao ciao.